Hey everyone, welcome back to more Reddit stories from r/IDontWorkHereLady. Hope you're all doing awesome today. Be sure to like and subscribe for more, and let's get right into it, guys. Every nurse does not work at every medical office. I'm a nurse and work at the one ER in town, pre-COVID. My doctor's office is in the same building as an urgent care. One sliding door, all glass. Turn left for urgent care. Turn right for doctor's office. Clearly marked. Day off. Sitting and waiting for my appointment, dicking around on my phone. I'm wearing Converse, jeans, and a hoodie that had the name of my then partner's workplace on it. Not a medical job. I'm also the only person waiting on that side. The urgent care had standing room only. Lady stomps in, walks up to my outstretched feet and says, "I need help." I point to the check-in window and tell her to talk to them. "No, you have to help me." Now confused, I respond with, "I'm here for an appointment." "You're a nurse, get up and do your job," said the lady. Now extremely concerned that this woman somehow knows my profession, I respond with, "I don't work here, I'm a patient." "Yes you do, you're a nurse," she said. At this point, the desk staff open the glass window and ask if they can help her. The lady stomps up to the window, demanding to immediately be seen. Staff figure out that she's not an established patient, and doesn't have an appointment, and needs to go to the urgent care. I get called back as Karen lady is demanding she see a doctor. By the time I got out, she was gone. Desk staff told me they had to ask her to leave, and she did while continuing to yell. I still have no idea who she was. I assume she knew I was a nurse because she saw me in the ER at some point. Never saw her again. Note, she was not in visible distress, walking normally with a steady gait. I'm not so heartless to ignore someone in need of medical care, but if you're able to stand at a window and shout at staff members, you're probably not a critical patient. Now, even though we don't know the exact reason why the Karen thought that OP worked there, it still doesn't make any sense why she would assume someone just sitting in the waiting room was on the clock. But as with a lot of these stories, trying to find some logic with these people's reasoning usually doesn't work out. You can only really speculate what in the hell is going on in these people's heads sometimes. We are not associated. I'm finally glad this is over, and hopefully it will never happen again. Some background, I work for a retail drugstore chain. The location my store is at an outdoor shopping center. There are several restaurants, a nail salon, veteran center, along with several offices. The shopping center is one address, with each business getting their own suite. Out of all the businesses, we are the busiest and the one that stands out. Twice a year, a nonprofit has an e-waste collection at the shopping center for a weekend. They put our business name on the posters, even though we have no association with them. This causes people to think it is something we set up, so we get hammered with calls for information. Our main response is we are not associated, and we have no information. Usually a person would take that as an answer and hang up. Well, this last one got really nasty. Before this event, one of the event organizers had made a stop in my store to buy a soda. I explained the phone calls we got, and if they could please not put our business on the poster. The organizer explained that it does say parking lot and there is a phone number. I explained that people don't see that and automatically assume the store is involved. The guy just blows me off and does the event. We start getting calls and we respond with the usual, we are not associated and we have no information. We got responses of, you put a poster up, it says it's at your store, they should have left you some information, and everything in between. It wasn't just my store getting the phone calls, but other nearby stores in the chain getting calls as well. We even had to resort to putting signs on our front door and registers, saying that we have no information and are not associated. The day of the event arrives and they set up behind one of the restaurants on the side of our building, a place where there are no windows. Again, we get bombarded with calls about the event. Again, we give the same response. This time, we get responses. I know you're not involved, but can't you step out for a moment to see if it's still going on? Ask them for information, etc. We say no every time. We explain that we are busy. This is not something related to our store. We get numerous people threatening to get us fired. My manager has had enough. My manager only works Monday through Friday, but this weekend he decided to make a surprise trip to work and confront the organizers. My manager says that if they put the store name on their posters again, he is going to drive all over town and take them down. If things get as bad as they did this time, he will also talk to our legal team about improper use of the company name and billing the nonprofit for wasted employee time that we spent answering the phone about an event that we had no association with. I suggested that they put the address of the shopping center, so at least all the businesses can at least share the harassment. Fingers crossed that the nonprofit doesn't put our name on the posters next time, and my manager makes do on his threat. Yeah, I'm not much of an expert on this kind of stuff, but I'd have to assume that there's some kind of law pertaining to this, right? Especially since they explicitly asked them not to use their store name. And people in the comments are talking about how they're surprised that the legal team didn't actually do anything about it sooner. And OP responds to that, making a pretty good point here, saying, but you also have to factor in, big Fortune 500 company taking legal action against tiny nonprofit doesn't make for good PR. Best to try to work things out civilly before resorting to legal teams. Teachers call security, thinking I'm a student trying to skip school. When I was in uni, one of my first majors was education. I had accepted a loan from a program that offered full loan forgiveness if you work in a low-income school for 3 years after graduation, and I thought I would make a good English teacher. One of the requirements was shadowing a teacher in a local school, so I set up a day to get that over with and got my best friend to drop me off. It was pretty straightforward. I spent a few hours following a teacher around, doing simple tasks to help, sitting in the back of a classroom, and getting confused stares from way too many middle schoolers. Oh, and having more flashbacks, because all middle schools are the same. After my time was up, I thanked the teacher and went out into the front of the school to wait for my friend to pick me up. He was running a little late because, well, he's a gamer, and sometimes he loses track of time. A lot. It was late fall semester, and so it was getting pretty cold. I was pacing back and forth on the front sidewalk to keep warm. I didn't realize that the building I was pacing in front of was the cafeteria, and the first round of lunch period was happening, so that place is filled with people. And me, wearing a bright tie-dye hoodie, was pretty easily seen from all the big windows. As I'm pacing, a security guard comes out of the cafeteria and walks up to me. Hey, what are you doing out here? You should be in class. I stare at him for a moment because he's got one of those deep Appalachian accents, and it takes a while for the words to process. I'm waiting for my ride, I said. Does your teacher know you're out here? With realization, I say, I don't go here. I pointed to my hoodie, which was emblazoned with the name of my university, big letters, one of the 2 local colleges. There was no way for him to know this, but the edition of the hoodie I own is actually one that only ran for my freshman year, and couldn't and still can't be bought online. It had to be bought in the campus store. This man gives me this look like he's waiting for me to admit that I'm lying. He gestures to tell me to follow him back in the building, and I say, no, really, I don't go here. I'm not a middle schooler, I'm 21. He huffs a bit as I fumble for my wallet. I pull out both my college ID and my military civilian ID that clearly states that I am not a teenager and that I definitely attend the local uni. He seems actively surprised when he squints at both forms of my identification and then kind of looks at me again with new eyes. He apologizes and walks away, leaving me to wait there for my friend in peace. I know I'm baby-faced, but this was the most ridiculous instance of being mistaken for a child. Especially since I wasn't the only teacher shadow from the university that day. I'm about to be 26, and people still clock me at 17. Guy unloads his cart on a closed lane and is confused I'm not helping him. This happened just earlier today. I work multiple jobs, and on my free time from my main job, I deliver for Shipt. Now Shipt has a uniform for their drivers, but they don't require us to wear them. So note, I am wearing a brown striped tank top, blue jean shorts, and flip-flops. I just finished shopping for a customer at Target and had just processed the order. Target is nice enough to have a stand with lots of bags for Shipt drivers to bag their ordered groceries. In this particular Target, it was a closed register lane. As I'm bagging my order in a lane with a sign on the conveyor belt that says closed, a guy starts to unload his cart onto the unmoving belt. I look up to him with confusion, and he is giving me the same look. I'm wondering why he placed his stuff on a clearly closed belt, and he's wondering why I'm not scanning his stuff. He then speaks up saying, "Aren't you gonna scan my stuff?" Confused, I say, "Dude, this register is closed, and I don't work here." I can see the gears turning in his head as he finally notices the closed sign in my clearly not Target outfit. He says nothing as he reloads his cart and goes to an actually open register. I chuckled as I left the store. I mean, I get it. On autopilot, you see a person's presence behind a register and assume you can go there without actually looking at the details of your surroundings. It was still pretty funny. That does seem to be the case, doesn't it, with a fair amount of these encounters. People just kind of going on autopilot and not really using their brain. Which is fine, we're all human. But what separates the Karens from the non-Karens are whether or not you actually admit to your mistake and just move on, or you continue to deny the misunderstanding and just have a meltdown because you don't want to admit you're wrong. Well, I guess some of them might never even realize they're wrong in the first place. Anyway, moving on. I'm technically on the clock, just not for here. For context, I worked going door to door for a utility company at the time, with a team of 5. We all dressed the same, in black, with our company logos, and in bad weather, we have very warm matching raincoats, also with the logo. We also have badges with our names on them and the company's info, so people know we aren't random grifters. On this particular day in my area, there was a downpour so bad that it was one of only 2 times in 4 years that our leadership decided to pull us out of the field. As this is rare, we don't really have a protocol in place, and we get told to hunker down nearby with the company van to see if it gets better before they send us home for the day or back out. Due to this, we decided to check out a small sandwich shop one of the guys swears is the best in the area. All of us being wet and hungry think this sounds great, and head right on over to get some food while still on the clock and getting paid till we hear back. Place is small, but it looks decent. Also part convenience store. They don't have a counter you order at, but an employee that walks around and takes orders. And with someone already talking to him, I know it's going to be a minute until all 5 of us get our orders in. So I elect to go last and check around the store as I'm in no hurry. After looking around, I see my coworkers have all had their orders in, so I go up to do mine. Due to this, my order is done last and has a bit of a delay. My 4 coworkers are all sitting down and starting to eat at this point while I wait for my sandwich, when an older lady walks up to me and starts saying a sandwich order without as much as a hello. I cut her off to say, "Oh, I don't work here," to which I get the confusing reply, "So you're working, you just don't work here? Uh-huh, sure." And an eye roll followed by her starting her order again. I respond by simply putting my hand up to cut her off, point to the logo on my jacket, which is still soaked by the way, and ask, "Does this look like the store's name to you?" I don't remember if she said anything back, but my order got announced at this point. So I stepped away, grabbed my sandwich, and smiled at her as I walked by her again, to sit with the 4 people dressed identically to me that were already eating and dig in. Now you'd think this would be the end of it, with me just eating my sandwich while basking in Karen's indignation, but no. She stomps off and finds the proper person to speak with, drags him back into view, and starts complaining about me to him, while he desperately tries to explain that I don't work there. By the time we finished eating and were leaving, I still don't think she had placed an order. And that's going to be it for today, everyone. Thank you for watching as always. If you enjoyed, drop a like, and also subscribe for more. We're almost at 30k subs, so let's get there, guys. Anyway, hope you all have an awesome day. Stay safe and take care.